Welcome to Flak. We're back. I apologize about last week, but two of my grandsons live in New Orleans. So we've been gently but firmly trying to coax them out. Our guest today is the wonderful Dr. Beth Singer, who you see on your screen there, mainly because I forgot to take it off. So she's still with us. You can't tell this is amateur hour. Beth, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, where you get the doctor from, and all of that sort of thing?
Okay, so my name is Dr. Beth because I actually have a PhD in biochemistry from UCLA. Um, I am an active scientist. I work at a biotech company in Pasadena, where we were developing drugs to be mitigators for radiation exposure and treatments for cancer. So um, I was born in 1968. So obviously I didn't watch it while it was on the air, watch Star Trek. But my parents were both avid watchers of Star Trek. They started watching from the very beginning. They wrote letters to to Gene Roddenberry to try to keep the show on the air. And when it was off the air, I started watching in reruns when I was in old enough. And
Of course.
my mom started going to conventions in the 70s and 80s, and she did a lot of mail order and also going to conventions and buying things. Um, I didn't really start actively going. I didn't really actively go to conventions until much later in life, and I've only been to a few. Um, Mainly because I was focusing on, being a scientist, and I also have a family with 3 kids. Um, so my time was somewhat limited. But I was obviously very interested in Star Trek from the very beginning. So, yeah.
Somebody says greetings.
Thanks.
Well, the now I know that you sort of semi-inherited a lot of your mom's stuff,
Yes.
and you were going sorting through things, and you made a discovery.
Yes. In about 10 years ago, um, I was going through my parents' house because my dad developed Parkinson's, and he needed a walker to walk around. And let's just say that my parents were collectors. Um, and my brother and I had to go to their house, and she lives in Indiana, I live in California. But we went to their house and helped clean out, declutter. And I was going through my mom's closet, and at the bottom of her closet, um, in a box that probably had not seen the light of day for about 30 years, maybe, was a box marked Star Trek. And I opened it up, and it was about the size of two large shoe boxes together. So it's a pretty large box. And it was filled with all these little packets and envelopes and baggies and wrapped things and all. I mean, it was completely filled with stuff. And I opened up one, and I discovered this that there were Star Trek film clips in there. Now, when I thought about Star Trek film clips, and I'd heard of them, of course, but I didn't really collect them, and I thought they were just images from the show. I thought they were just, like basically like screen caps. What do we call screen caps today?
Or
Um,
TV photos, or a
or
lot
TV
of
photos.
things that were done.
Yeah, and I just thought they were just regular photos. But when I opened one up, I saw something that drew my breath away. Um, I I saw an image of the Enterprise in the studio lot in the studio, so you could see the Enterprise model, and but you could also see cameras and lights and the studio all around it. And I was like flabbergasted. I could not breathe. I did not know. I I realized immediately what it was, um, and how significant it was.
Uh huh.
Um, and the thing is that I feel like I was in the right place at the right time because because I had an interest in Star Trek, of course,
Right.
and I was able to recognize the significance of this discovery, and I think of it as a discovery, um, because it was. so significant. It wasn't just a generic image of the Enterprise. It was a background image. It was filmed during. This was a picture taken during the and then in this one envelope, I pulled out more and more of these, and these were all background images of. I mean, there was one of the Enterprise with the Kobayashi Maru next to it from Space Seed, but you could see the pedestals it was standing on, and in front of it, you had a guy with a clapperboard. Um, and I had heard of clapperboards, of course, but I had never seen one. I had never seen one in an image like this. And these were, you have to understand, these are 35 millimeter in size. They're very small. I had to hold them up to the light to look at them. And yet I could see immediately what it was.
Wow, cool. So you it was like seeing behind the seeing into the magic.
Yes, it was like seeing, it was like almost like being there at at that moment it was filmed. It was like holding a piece of living history in my hands. And I
Wow.
was sitting in my mom's closet holding it up to the light, trying to focus on what they were. And there weren't just one packet like this. This is a packet, and it was marked in an envelope, just a small little Manila envelope, and it was marked Star Trek 10 cents each. That's literally what it was marked as. And there were other envelopes like that too, but a lot of them were marked or labeled or anything. Um, some of them were labeled Star Trek, and some of them were just random. And there were other television shows too. There were she liked William Shatner, so there was a lot of there was Barbary Coast. I don't remember what all the Big Bad Mama. I don't know if you ever saw that show, Kingdom of the Spiders. Um, there were some of those, but the vast majority were Star Trek. And there were envelopes that were, I mean, there were baggies filled with thousands of film clips in them. Um, I mean, it wasn't just a few; it was a lot. I think what happened was that she had been collecting over the years, and she also bought some from another collector and then just stored them in here. And they
Ah,
literally had not seen the light of day for probably 20 to 30 years, would be my guess.
so she probably went up at a convention to a dealer's table and somebody had all of this for 10 cents each and she said, "Hey, come to mama."
Yeah, I think
Well,
that's what she did.
and she had all of these things that had never been seen, especially back then. That would have been quite a fascinating thing to find.
It,
Okay, so you have been collecting these and processing them, and how are you relating that to other fans?
well, so one of the things that I did was I went to and asked other people if anybody else had any film clips, and um, one person named Candy Fong, she had a whole bunch of them. She used to put vids together of the film clips and set them to music, and then show them at conventions, and that was done in the 70s. And she sold me her collection, and then Jim and Melody Rondeau had a huge collection, and they sold me their
Oh yeah.
collection. So right at this point, I have between a conservative estimate is between 30 and 50,000 film clips. Um, and it's
Whoa, you've got 30 to 50,000 of these?
yes,
And
and
most are of things, bits and pieces of scenes that haven't been seen before.
yes, I believe that they're all from the cutting room floor from Lincoln Enterprises.
So
Um,
this is all new Star Trek
as
from
far as
old
I can
Star Trek.
tell, a lot of it is very new. It's not. I've seen images that I have not seen online at all. I've been searching around for a while, trying to find images like this, but there's not really an online database um, of Star Trek film clips like this. And one of the things that I'm interested in doing is creating an online database that's searchable, that's annotated. So you can say, okay, I want to look at the scene from City on the Edge of Forever um, at this moment, and you can go and try to find if there's film clips from that scene.
I
And
would imagine the TV Academy would be interested in helping you with that.
I
It
I haven't contacted them. Um, I just have this amazing resource, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. And I've noticed that in a lot of eh, a lot of places where like the TV Academy or the books that you see. I have some books behind me about
Yes,
there's some books that have been published about film clips, and what they do is they put out there only the few really good ones, and so what you're seeing is just the very very top of the tip of the iceberg of film clips that are available, and because that's what they showcase in these books, and they also do this in museums. If you go to a museum, you see this nice presentation on, in these glass cabinets of things. But what you don't see is behind the scenes is the thousands of artifacts that belong to the same collection, but they're only showing you the few really good ones.
right.
And to me, there's a lot of value in all the others, especially with Star Trek, um, because you'll see images that you've never seen before that you never even thought existed, or there are alternate takes that you that where you and you see expressions on the people or their bloopers, and these are just not available in real life. In You just can't see them. You can't do a Google search on them. I know
Exactly.
I've tried to do that.
I know that when I was a youngster, I'd go to conventions and there would be these guys who would sell stills or, bad copies of old photos. And they would make a lot of money from people who wanted to find the stuff that's not freely available in books. I know Mark, my brother here, my co-host. Hello, Mark. Um, had was friends with one of those fellows, and I always thought when the internet hit and you could suddenly find all these images, because in the olden days, as you youngsters don't know, we would, that you were bound to about the same 25 to 30 images that would be repeated in
Yeah,
every volume of any book. And the as a result, it limited your vision of the show or movie or whatever. And in your case, you have expanded this so amazingly that the it's almost like seeing it new from the very beginning.
it
Okay,
is.
why don't we share some of this with our viewers?
Okay,
And I'm going to attempt to add the stream. We're all doing this. Nobody has ever done this before. We're
okay,
doing what no man has ever done before. And we'll see if this works. Yes, it does.
okay.
Okay.
So this is actually part. I posted on YouTube a talk I gave at RevelCon about a month ago, and it was about these Star Trek film clips. Now the thing is,
RevelCon being a media convention.
it's a media convention in Texas. It's held every year, um, and there are a lot of Star Trek fans who went to it. And I wanted to get an idea of what people might be interested in, if they might be interested in this. And it was really well attended, and I got a lot of really good comments. So I wanted to expand on this. On this, when I made the YouTube video, I was only able to record the first 30 minutes of the talk. So this is actually, if I can, if we have time, I'll go through the entire talk that I gave. So
Well, if we don't have time now, we can certainly bring you back.
okay. Um, so one of the things is all the images in here are scanned images from the film clips that I have in my collection. Um, so including this one right here, which is of the Enterprise.
Right.
Um, and what's really interesting of this one is this is a post-production one. You can see all the elements of the phasers firing, but also the
Right.
background of the stars. Okay.
Okay.
So
And
this is a image of a colorized image. So I think this is actually this first one is an original. Um,
right.
some some people made copies, colored copies, and because the originals are either in black and white or they are like this one is black and white. Um, they are either or they were damaged with time, so they're decolorized. They've lost a lot of their color. So if you see an original colored one, this is probably a copy, um, and
Mm,
and also you can see that the resolution is not as good. So the
right.
colored copies are not as desirable as the originals, in my opinion. Um, this is actually the a very rare one. I don't have very many of these, and this is from the cage. This is not from
And
the
this is
comic.
from the credits.
This is the credits that were shown in the cage, the episode, the first episode of the
Right.
cage. Okay, so one of the questions is what are uh, film clips? Why are they significant? Um, so when TV shows like Star Trek were originally filmed, they were filmed on this 35 millimeter film, and what the editors would do, the film editors and the producers, directors would come in and decide on which scenes that they would like to use and piece them together to make the final episode. But one of the things that happened is a lot of times there'd be multiple takes, there'd be deleted scenes, and they would also trim the scenes from right when the action starts. So there'd be film clips or film that was just not used. There'd also be bloopers and special effects. You seem to take multiple pieces of film to do it.
Right.
So he created a company called Lincoln Enterprises, and what he did is he did this because he wanted to save all the film. And back then, in other TV shows, the common practice was to throw away all the film, unused film.
Right.
Um, but he saved everything, and he created Lincoln Enterprises as a way to distribute film to the fans. He was trying to get fans interested in Star Trek and get support from them. So he distributed it as to fan clubs, um, and he created it's called the Lincoln Enterprises catalog. So
Hmm.
you could write off of the catalog. You could get
So this was something fans could actually write away for and get it and
yes,
then order from.
yes, and I actually have an original Lincoln Enterprises set from my that my mom got,
Oh,
and so other people are also started selling film clips. And for my a very conservative estimate is there's hundreds of thousands of film clips out there, probably a lot more. So this is a an original Lincoln Enterprises catalog, and they sold all sorts of things in this catalog. They sold keychains, pictures, photos, scripts, and a lot of other stuff. But what I'm really interested in is this blow up on the right, which is the film clip frames, is what they call it.
oh
So
yes.
there were all these different types of things you could get. You could get one with just Kirk, one with just Spock, and there were I think 15 different sets of things you could get. And if you bought the whole lot. Oh, and each one was only $1.25 back then. But if you bought the whole lot, it was $15.
Now,
Um,
is this produced by Gene Roddenberry?
well, this was produced by his company, Lincoln Enterprises, which was originally done by B. Joe Trimble, and
Ah,
then later by his soon to be wife, Majel Barrett
right.
Roddenberry. Um, so this is the way they originally came. So this is an original envelope. I blocked off the address, but you can see Lincoln Enterprises on the side. So I have this envelope right here
Ah,
um, with the film clips in. So they came in these little plasticine envelopes, and here are some pictures of these, some of these original ones. This first set are all Chekhov, and you can see there's some. I don't know if you can see up there's clapperboards of the ones with Chekhov, and then
okay.
there's
I
some,
see the clapboard.
yeah, and then there's some of Spock. So these are definitely behind the scenes. So originally they came in these sets of three, um, but later I think they were a little bit messy when they were cutting them, and so they would often cut off parts of it. As you can see right here, they cut off part of the clip. Their attitude was, at least you got two really good ones in here and one really good one in here. Um, I think they were just doing them in such large volumes they had to do it quickly. So, um, but there were film clips from various other different sellers, and this is an example of one of different types of envelopes you can get. You can see that this is not labeled at all. This middle envelope is the one. I'll wait. Uh, that the original one that I got that had all the significant images from it. That's why I included it here. This is one from Jim and Melody Rondeau, which is a packet of 20 film clips that had been cut up, and
Wow.
this is another set of the original film clips. You can see how packed this is. How many film clips there are. Some of them came mounted like this, and
Wow.
but the vast majority of them look like this, little images.
Ugh,
So
my goodness.
trying to identify which scan them in, identify what they are, is the challenge.
No kidding.
Okay, so I talked about a little bit about the eureka moment, but I'm about to show you this. Is
Right.
I was in my mom's closet and I opened up this box and I found this film clip.
Whoa. Yeah.
So I held it up to the light and I was like, oh my God, this is, I could see it even holding it up to the light, holding up a little tiny phone clip.
That
And
would be a paradigm shattering moment, wouldn't
it
it?
was, I like, I, my, I almost fainted. It was that earth shattering. I mean, you can see here the lights and the scaffolding around
Yeah.
in the warehouse around it. You can see the pedestal for where the Enterprise is mounted, but you can't see it on there because it's done so well. But you can
Right.
also see the shadow of the Enterprise from the lights.
Yeah.
I mean, this was incredible. I had never seen anything like this before.
Yeah. That would be truly amazing, especially for someone who wasn't, on set. This is getting us all in on the secrets behind the scenes.
Yeah, and that's why this is so valuable. Is
Yeah.
you don't you don't just see this anywhere.
And
I mean,
these things need to be preserved.
these need to be preserved.
Yeah.
So I've been scanning these as quickly as possible, but I'm only one person right now, so
Exactly.
yeah,
You need help.
yes,
You need assistance.
yes,
And I imagine that dear Mr. Roddenberry had lots of fans along with Bijo sitting on the sofa or on the rug probably amid pizza boxes, clipping these things. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. I'm sure they did. Um, and I don't think it was a very big operation when they were doing it.
No.
So some of the earliest film clips I'm going to show you, which were from
Whoa.
this original package. So this is also one of the very first ones I saw. Keeping in mind, these were not mounted in anything; these were just individual pieces of film. But I was able to clearly see, just by holding it up to the light, what this was, identify what episode it was from, possibly what scene it was from. So, just in case you don't know, this is actually from the Kobayashi. This is the Kobayashi Maru ship
Kobayashi Maru.
from
Yeah.
Space Seed. So Khan's ship from Space Seed. Um, but what's even more interesting about this is you can see the pedestals that these ships are mounted on, and you can
Yep.
see how they put it together. And you can see a light right here, and most importantly, you can see this guy with a clapperboard.
Yeah.
I had never seen a clapperboard. I didn't know what a clapperboard was. I mean, I knew what it was. I knew I had seen it used in like, in television shows, like
Yeah.
as a joke. But
We all see them go clap. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I had never actually seen one in a Star Trek film clip. Um,
Yeah. It's sort of a revelation that, oh my gosh, it really was. If only the Thelemites had seen this, um, well, we wouldn't have Galaxy Quest. So
yeah,
anyway, the what's amazing to me about these things is it really is like looking back in time
it is.
because we've evolved so far beyond this level of production, and it's kind of like seeing. developmentally into another age. Now, this was the second or the third clip you saw?
Um, I think this was among the second. There were a couple of Kirk ones, and there were a couple of ones with Kirk on the Enterprise, but this was the most significant ones.
Ah,
There's about 10 or 12 of them that I pulled out of this packet. I lucked out. I pulled out the first packet I pulled out, which was labeled, by the way, Star Trek 10 cents each. By the way,
don't you
um,
love it?
yeah, yeah. I realize now that the person who had collected these had put all the really special ones into one envelope. The vast majority of them do not look like this, um, but I happened to pick up the right one at the right time, and and picked it up. And I was in the middle of cleaning, decluttering, but I had to spend like I had to take a break and look through the film clips to to look at them and see what an amazing find this was. Um, it wasn't just that; it was the sheer number, the sheer amount that was there. I mean, some of the others contain clapperboards and other images that I had never seen before. So yes, this is one of the second. This is like one of the like third or fourth one I saw, um, and it was amazing because I was able to identify it immediately, what it was.
Right. Yeah. Well, the Mark, did you have any questions or comments?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, I'm fine.
I I thought you looked like you were wondering about something. Okay,
Well, I was
let's
just
go
trying
on.
to look some. I was trying to look something up, but I couldn't find it.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
I
okay.
found I saw a picture from the same time period where the company that made the Enterprise model, it was sitting outside their shop with a for sale sign on it.
Yeah, I've seen images.
You've probably seen that one.
Yeah, I've seen images like that. But what's and I've seen images being published now. This is becoming more common to find some of these images online now. Um, but it's but I think for the sheer magnitude, um, and how valuable this resource is yet to be determined, because a lot of these you don't know what they are until you scan them in and study them in detail.
Right,
So
Oh,
exactly.
and seeing something posted on the internet and seeing the original film are two entirely different
oh
things.
yeah, oh yeah, because these are like relatively low resolution scans. Um, to get sort of for some of these, I would need to do a very high resolution scan, and then there are companies out there that are restoring some of these images, um, to their original color and everything. I'm not as interested in restoring as in preserving them, and cataloging them and making them available to people.
Have
Yeah,
you
this
gotten any have you gotten any flack from the studio about using them?
Not yet,
you
and
probably won't.
I've been selling. The thing is that they were sold by Lincoln Enterprises as a company. It's not like I took a videotape and cut up the film and then are trying to sell it like that. Or
Right,
I'm
like I tried to sell a movie trailer from a Disney film on eBay, and eBay shut me down, sent me a do not or a cease and desist letter,
It's
and
Disney.
yeah, and I was selling it for $1. That letter must have cost them $300, so I framed it, so I got a souvenir.
Yeah,
Well, Star
yeah,
Trek has a different view of things than Disney.
Well, in trying to decide who owns what, because you've got Viacom, Paramount, CBS, NBC, whoever's got the rights to Desilu, which I think is Paramount.
Yeah. Well, this
So,
is physical property, though. I mean, it's like she bought Spock's ears. You
right,
know,
it's licensed stuff that she has. So that's
yes,
the difference.
and it's therefore, it's in a different context. Also, just getting the information out there, it has very little production value for the people in control of Star Trek right now.
Yeah.
So it behooves them to be kind to fandom, because
Well, they
fandom is kind to them.
well they've been a lot more cooperative than Disney would have been. Can
Oh
you
yeah,
imagine? Can you imagine a fan film making a Jungle Book? Disney saying it's okay? I don't
no,
think so.
no. Anyway, Beth,
Yes.
the let's go on with your presentation here.
Okay. So this is another early one that I saw.
Uh
Um,
huh.
this is a clearly another behind the scenes one of the Romulan warbird.
Right.
Probably. And what's interesting about this is you can see a cameraman
Yeah.
taking a picture, taking or videoing or the Romulan warbird and how they did it. So I guess I can imagine that they kept it stable and moved the cameras um, around it to make the effects of the movement of the ship.
Right.
But you can see lights and you can see the background, the blue background. This is another incredible background shot.
It really is. I mean, the very idea that there's this guy taking the picture in such a way that it'll have a bearing on the final product is really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
It shows you how much power the cameraman had back then.
yes. And it was incredibly because of his posture and his the way he's taking it from below, but you can still see the pedestal with the that is that is sitting on. So it's little details like this which really interest me. Is how was this filmed? You know what is there in the background? How is he doing it? Um, so that's this is what I'm really interested in. Um, okay,
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing.
it is very amazing. Um, okay, and then this is
Wow.
this is an image from when they filmed the show. They filmed it from the top, and
Oh,
a
whoa,
few
that's
only a
not
few episodes.
Spock.
That is not Spock. So I'm
Whoa.
speculating here. I don't know for sure, but there's clearly two crewmen. I mean, crewmen. I mean, there's a clapperboard being done.
Right.
Sorry, David, can you give me
It's
some
okay.
water? Sorry, that's not Spock sitting there.
Right. Yeah, it's not.
And that could be a her, but it's hard to tell because from her,
Yes.
even if you blow it up, it's hard to tell. I don't think that's Kirk. That might be Kirk. Sorry.
It also might just be a stand-in.
I think this is a stand-in shot
Yeah. It's
to
a
establish the
lighting
lighting.
shot, possibly.
This is to establish the lighting. Thank you,
Yeah.
David.
Yeah, they don't involve actors as a rule in that kind of thing. They just bring in people with their same coloring and
Yeah,
build and everything so that
yeah,
the light will deal with him like it will the actors.
yeah, yeah. So this
That's
is a very rare and unusual shot too. It's like you don't see this shot. This shot was not obviously in the final film, but even
someone
whatever.
wonders if I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Someone is asking, could it be a scene with Captain Pike?
Um, no, because the uniforms are all after this third or so episode, and because they're all because the pikes the episodes the uniforms from the cage were very different. Um, Also, the chair is very different in the
Well,
cage.
they made some substantial changes in the set.
Yes,
Um, yeah.
yes. It's difficult for me to identify which episode this is from, but I can tell it's not early because in the first couple episodes, uh, Kirk or that actually the captain's chair had a goosenecked um, like a, I don't know what you call it. It was like a something he could look into, attached to
Right.
the hair, and it's very noticeably different. So that's one way I can identify which episode these are from, or at least what set of episodes they're from.
Right.
So this type of thing is not seen very often at all. And also, you can see the top of the studio, or the top of the, I guess, the
Of the
set.
set. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't see that very often at all.
No.
Um, so this is a very special picture as well. Also,
Yeah,
this was not obvious at all what the significance of this image until I scanned it. Because just looking at it as a, in a 35 millimeter, shot, looking at it with my eyes, I couldn't see those details.
yeah. This you can actually see the bend of the soundstage. It's that's amazing.
Yeah. So that's why it's very important to scan in all these images, or all these film clips, because you can't see those types of details from just looking at it, and also you don't know which ones to scan in. That's one of the
Right.
biggest questions: is what do I scan in? It actually takes a lot of effort to scan all these in.
You
Um,
got 50,000 bits to scan in, and you've got to start somewhere.
yeah,
And you don't know if gold is in that hill or that hill.
no.
So, the are you going to be putting together a group of people to, um, go sort through them or scan them? Is that something that you're looking toward?
That is one possibility. I'm definitely looking into getting help with this. Um, one thing is I have almost no money to do this. Um, so it would have to be on a voluntary basis. Uh, and
Well, that's fandom.
yeah, that is fandom.
Fandom is voluntary, so.
Yeah, I've been selling some of these film clips on eBay, the more common ones, only because my mom kind of needs the money. She's This is her collection, and a lot of this is from her collection in the first place, and she needs the money because she's like getting older, and it's getting very hard for her to move around. Um, so I'm having to help support her, and this is one of the things that I'm trying to do is trying to sell these in order to help with her expenses.
I
Um,
understand. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, fandom will respond. You'll get lots of people who want to help. I feel certain of that. Of course, the Bejo days were, everybody was a little more frenetic, but there are a lot of fans who have high tech skills too.
yes.
So, you may hear from people who have ideas of ways to scan quickly or something like that.
Well, it's not just
So,
scanning quickly. It's you have to identify which clip goes with which image, and then you have
right.
to identify the images and tie them to a specific episode, and see why they're significant. So, like this film clip is very significant just because of the fact that it's a stand-in. These actors are all stand-in, and you don't see that often. But I don't know which episode this is from. Um,
May I make a comment?
yeah.
Of course.
I believe this film clip is from Where No Man Has Gone Before, and that the person sitting at Spock's station is Gary Lockwood. Because when he got hit by the light and it made his eyes turn like that, he was
Yeah.
sitting at Spock's station when that happened. So I think there's a good chance this is from Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Okay. See, that's what I need. Um, I need people to say, okay, I think this is from Where No Man Has Gone Before, and then go through the episode and try to find where this might be from. Um, that
Well,
is what I need.
the one at the what is it? The weapons station is not Chekhov because uh, Walter Koenig wasn't on the show yet
No.
in Where No Man Has Gone Before. So that explains that. And I blew this up, and I'm pretty sure that that's George Takei and that that's Shatner. and I believe that that's the what you think is the stand-in. I believe that's Gary Lockwood because I've met Gary Lockwood, and that looks a lot like him.
Well, we can this is a detail, and we can certainly talk about it afterwards. But
Sure.
I'd like to go
Well,
on. But
I was
this is
just
what
I
I
was just
need.
trying to help.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah,
So,
this is what I need. Is I need help like that. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about clapperboards. Um, so
right,
um, when the um, when the show was being produced, they used clapperboards to try to sync the sound with the images. So they would actually snap it shut, and that would produce the sound, and that's how the editors would put them together.
right,
But that's not how I'm using the clapperboards. Um, so the clapperboard was done usually at the beginning of the scene, and it had information on the clapperboard itself, and you can see this is an example of one. Um,
yes,
it has the name of the director and the cameraman, the date it was filmed, um, the scene number, the take number, the episode number, and the date of filming. Um, so um, from all this information, I can identify which scene and which episode and which scene it's from. Um, and the most important thing here is the episode number. If all I see is the episode number or the date, I can tie it to a specific episode. So the reason I can do that is because I have a list of all the titles and episode numbers.
right,
Um, so on the far right side, the last two numbers, the last two digits are the episode number, and that's the date. That's the time it was filmed. This is um, not the episode numbers that it was aired. These are the episode numbers associated with the filming directly.
right.
Um, and you have to focus on the last two digits. The last two digits is episode number. We had episode number 34. If we look on here,
Uh,
so this is from Amok Time.
okay. And of course, the number in which it was filmed is not necessarily the number of the episode that was broadcast. So,
No, no.
yeah,
They changed around the broadcast episode numbers. Uh, um, but what I'm trying to tie it to is what specific episode it is,
right,
and um, and also I have a list of filming dates, and this has been published in several different books. Is what dates each episode was filmed. So a lot of times this is a good one where you can see almost all the clapperboard. A lot of times you can't see the whole clapperboard; you can only see parts of it. Um, but from each part, I can piece together which episode it's from if I can only see parts of it. Okay, so the clapperboard is very. I have a lot of those as well.
right. That
Okay,
would be very informative.
yes. Um, so the cage. The cage was um, the first, the first pilot that was filmed by Gene Roddenberry,
Right,
and it was filmed in early '64, like around 1964. And so there are some significant differences between the cage and the rest of the second pilot and also the rest of the Star Trek episodes. And one of the problems is identifying where the clip is from. And
right,
so one of the things that there are differences between the cage and the rest of the episodes is completely different uniform. Um, Spock still had pointy ears, but his makeup and his eyebrows were very different. So that's how we were able to tie this one to the cage.
yeah. This just looks silly.
Yeah, yeah, but it was a start.
Yeah, of course. You
So
got to
Major,
start somewhere.
yeah. So one other significant difference between the cage and the rest of the show is Majel Barrett was in as number one, and she
Yeah,
had a very different look. She had long brown hair and a different uniform. Um, so this is the first clapperboard that the first dated clapperboard I've been able to identify, and
first day of shooting.
it's from first date of shooting, 5/24/64, and it's you have to blow it up to be able to see what episode number it is and what the date is, but you can you can do that if you have a microscope. I have a digital microscope, so I can actually take high resolution images of as high resolution as I want of these film clips.
Well, in your field, you would.
Yeah, yeah, I'm borrowing it from my other stuff. So this is another early clapperboard um, from the cage, and you can see Major Barrett and
Yes.
one of the ensigns. And here clearly you can see that the date, the Star Trek, the director, cameraman. This is episode number 1, very significant, and the date, and it says night. I don't know what night means actually. Um, this is another clapperboard from the cage. Obviously, this is the cage itself, where Pike was kept, and so this is before Pike was put in. And
Right.
but once again, you can see what scene number it is. So you can, if you have the script, you can tie this particular film clip, to that particular scene.
Right.
That's really significant. Um, okay,
So
so
all of the stuff being together, all of the different references.
yes,
That's
you have to
key.
put, yeah, you have to take into account the clapperboard, but also their uniforms, their hair, everything that helps you identify which episode it is.
Right.
So the biggest problem is identifying the film clips. That's the problem that I have. Sometimes it's really obvious. So this is a film clip from Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Before
Uh,
the special effects were
well, there's no
put
stars
in.
there, so
Yeah.
but you can see this is clearly Captain Kirk,
Hmm.
and I'm tying it to Where No Man Has Gone Before because that was one of the few episodes where he had this sort of goosenecked. I think it's a way of communication device.
Yeah.
Um, so that's you have to look at clues like that to identify episodes, which episode they're from. Um, but this was an interesting one. So the first time I saw this one, um, I'm putting it as a joke that did Sheldon time travel because this does look like Sheldon, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's not Sheldon. Um, but it is a makeup test by one of the during the episodes, so you can see. But there are a lot of interesting ones like this. It's like, hey, which episode is this from? Or is this for an episode? That's a big question. I haven't tied it to a specific episode yet.
It might not even have been screen used. You
No,
know.
it was not screen used at all. I think they were just using it for using this actor as a makeup test.
Mm.
So this is an interesting one. It's another pre-special effects. So I can identify what this is. Um,
Well,
but
yeah.
this is Apollo, and I think that they filmed him against the blue screen to make him appear large. Do you remember when he grew large during the show?
Right.
And I think this is how they did it: is they filmed him against this blue screen or green screen, whatever they call it, and then this is him getting ready. So, so I love this particular film clip, but I can't tell what it's from. It might be from Miri or Sitting on the Edge of Forever, and but I just love the coloring and his the way he's acting. It's like I think he was like thrown against the wall, but I don't know what episode it's from.
Eh.
So if anybody has any ideas, please send them my way. Because this is
I
one.
think City on the Edge of Forever would have been my guess, but that's just because of the brick in the background.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be like Piece of the Action or City on the Edge of Forever or Miri. One of them where they're on an Earth-like planet because of the
Right.
bricks.
yeah, but why would they film it? I don't know. It just I haven't been able to tie it to a specific scene yet or episode. So
Well, it
this
might have been something that was, hit the cutting room floor.
yeah
Or maybe he was in the studio building and was resting, and somebody took a picture of him. And,
Yeah.
it might not even be
Well, they
from
had
the show.
studio photographers too that
yeah
would take shots. I know they did on Dark Shadow, so I'm assuming in that same time period they would have for Star Trek, and it was used for publicity reasons. So
yeah
maybe some photographer walked up and went, "Okay, look." coquettish.
Yeah.
So, okay, well that's one that needs to be identified then.
Yep. So this one, uh, I was able to identify this on the left because it's a rather famous picture. When Galileo 7 was filmed, they actually they created a monster, but they never actually showed him in the episode. But this is an image of the a film clip of the monster that they created.
Yeah.
And what he was supposed to do was, when they were in the Galileo, this image was supposed to be put into the window, and um, and that's how it was supposed to be seen. But I don't have an actual film clip
Right.
um, of that composite put together. So I think they ended up not just doing that. But this is where it was supposed
Well,
to go.
they used it when he threw the rock at the shuttle, because
But
that was a monster that picked up a huge rock and threw it at the shuttle.
but
So
you didn't see his face. The monster.
no, they didn't show the face. No.
Yeah.
Well, the makeup is pretty uh, poor.
Or
So,
yeah, it's pretty poor. But this was back then. Um,
right.
so this is
Well,
a yeah. So one
okay.
of the things I try to do is I try to tie images together, like two different phone clips. Like these two were supposed to go together, um, but they didn't actually put them together. So that's one of the things I'm trying to tie together.
Right.
So this is an interesting one. In the Double of the Dark, they had one of the red shirts get killed, or and it all you saw were the remnants on the floor. And this on the left, I believe, is this pre special effects, um, created to show the created before they did the final special effects. I'm not quite sure how they did it, but considering the background and how they look very similar, I think this is what they did. This might even be something they did on the film itself. I'm not sure.
Right. May
So
have been a test
may have been a
shot
test.
or something.
Yes. So I'm putting this in because I think this is behind the scenes. Maybe when they were doing the music or the special effects or the filming. I'm not sure what this was, but this was in there. So I'm um, I'm putting this out there for people to help me identify it. Um, but it was with all the other film clips, with in amongst all the Star Trek film clips.
Excellent.
So, but if anybody has any ideas, let me know. So
Have you
this is
talked to any of the production people?
no, I haven't done that. Um,
That might be, and certainly Bijo might be able to. Are you in contact with Bijo?
no, I didn't know she was still around.
I
Um,
I assume she is. My friend Joanne Christie Nolan, who had a little bit part in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, is friends with her. So I might be able to link you up.
that would be wonderful if you could. I would love to talk to her, even if it wasn't about film clips. I would love to talk to her. Um,
Okay, sounds good. I will connect you. Okay,
okay.
now let's go on.
So this is another image. I'm clearly able to identify this is from Where No Man Has Gone Before. However, the this could be Kirk, but that I'm not sure if that's uh, what's his name? You probably know.
Gary Lockwood.
Gary Lockwood. It's hard to tell because it's of his
It's
expression.
it. It's him.
It's him. Um, but one of the other things that I've seen before is where somebody has written on the film itself, and this is a rare, but I've seen it happen where somebody is actually physically written on the film, and it has actually it's just actually the scene and the tape number, um, which you can see is right there. I'm not sure why they did
This
that, but um,
That's a famous scene. It's the one where they have the headstone for Kirk with the wrong middle initial.
yeah,
Well, the I know that it's interesting because now, of course, in the age of virtual everything, back then they actually had to handle the film.
Yes.
and they would write on it on occasion, and they would make actual changes to the film.
Yes, and they would actually cut they'd actually cut them and then piece them together. So I could
Hmm.
see tape remnants of tape on
Tape
the
them
film.
together, yeah.
Yeah, and they'll write on the sides of the film too. I'm
Right,
actually only showing the image itself, but the actual film is a little bit bigger, and they would write on the sides of the film as well.
right.
They would also mark the film too with a marker. So I really like this one. Troubles.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if it's a missing scene or not, but I wanted to throw it in because I like Troubles.
I like them too. I like triples.
Yes. So this is a companion scene to that. The first time I saw this, I was not able to identify what it was until I saw this image in one of the books about background scenes in Star Trek.
Right.
Um, my first thought, what is this? You guys have any clue, or have you seen the show? Seen it? Okay. Um, so when I first saw this, I was like, well, there's clearly these people. It's a transporter room. There's two people standing there, um, and there's these obviously background um, crew
Right.
putting something on there. And if you look closely, you can see it. They're putting tribbles here.
Oh yeah, they are. Okay.
Yeah. So that's Kirk holding a tribble, and that's Spock, and they're placing tribbles in the transporter pad.
Nobody knows the triples they've seen.
Yes, that's really bad.
Are
Are okay, Beth. We
Yeah.
are facing the top of the hour,
Okay.
and why don't we finish up with this one? That we got to bring it back. That's all
Okay.
there is to it.
Okay. All right. Well, this one is kind of long. Do you want to?
Okay, yeah. Let's save this for next week. Can you return next week?
Yes,
That's
I
the
can.
question.
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. Okay, let's give um, everybody a. Okay, I'm having trouble reaching my messenger now. I will update all of the contact information for Beth on the Facebook Live page on Facebook. Facebook Live. Fan Flak Live. I've forgotten the name of my own show. And I will also post it over on YouTube as well.
Okay.
But right now, how can anybody get hold of you?
Well, I'm on Facebook. Um, uh, and I have actually have, and I'm selling on eBay as well. So and you can send me a message through Facebook, or if you, I'm going to post a copy of this on my YouTube channel as well. So you can always send me a message through the YouTube channel. My eBay name is Doctor underscore Beth 2000, and on Facebook I'm just on my name Beth Singer. Um, I posted it several times on Facebook. If you are interested in helping in some way, especially if you have access to um, creating online databases which can be annotated and are available, that would be great. If you want to help annotate the film clips, contact me as well. That would mean that you have to actually physically watch Star Trek to identify which episode and scene they're from. I know that's horrible to sound to do, but um, I need
Something
volunteers.
tells me they wouldn't mind.
No, I
well
don't think
if
they would mind.
well when we're off the air, I'll talk to you.
Okay,
I think I can help.
All
okay,
right. Well, at the top of the hour now, nearly. I want to thank you very much, Beth, for being with us. You will return next week for the rest of this presentation. This has been tons of fun. And somebody has just asked if you are the same Dr. Beth that sells zines. Yes,
yes.
she is. I can answer that one. So we will see you next week.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, Mark. We will be back next week with Dr. Beth. The week after that, we will be back with
Steve
somebody,
Ross.
Steve
Steve
Ross.
Ross.
And we'll tell you all about Steve probably on my Facebook tomorrow.
He's
So,
making he's making a movie.
He's making a movie. Yes. I'm sorry. It's I because of the thing in New Orleans, I'm just messed up this week. So
Well,
you'll have to
I
forgive me.
I was going to tell Beth I recognize a lot of the
Okay.
scenes
Well,
just from
your
show
memory.
so well.
Okay. I'm going to close the show now, and then you guys can talk. Okay.
Okay, I didn't know she
Thanks,
was still
everybody.
here.
Yeah, she's still here. She's just,
Okay.
I hate her.
Ah,
Thanks, everyone, for watching. See you next week.